Welcome to the Salacious Stories of Scientists, where science sizzles and the lab coats come off. Today, we're diving into the glittering salons and smoky bedrooms of 18th century France to meet a woman who out-Newtoned Newton, out-loved Voltaire, and died the way she lived, doing science and scandal at the same time. This is the story of Emilie du Chatelet, physicist, philosopher, mathematician, and unapologetic badass. Emilie was born in 1706 into French aristocracy, which meant she had access to tutors, books, and ballrooms, but not a formal education, because she was a girl. Cue collective eye roll. But Emilie had no time for embroidery and courtly giggles. She wanted algebra, calculus, Newtonian physics before it was cool. So she taught herself. Then she hired tutors. Then she outpaced them. By her 20s, she was fluent in Latin, Greek, German, and math, and fluent in flirting, too. She moved through French society with a rapier wit and a killer décolletage, dazzling suitors and scholars alike. Then came a certain tall, sarcastic philosopher named Voltaire. Voltaire wasn't just France's wittiest exile. He was the country's most famous Enlightenment thinker. When Emilie met him in her late 20s, the two lit up like magnesium in a vacuum. She invited him to live with her in her country estate. Not a euphemism, they turned her chateau into a love nest / laboratory. Together they experimented. Again, not always a euphemism. They studied Newton, performed physics experiments, and wrote together. Voltaire openly admitted, "Emilie is a great man, whose only fault is being a woman." She ghostwrote much of the science and his elements of Newton's philosophy, all while carrying on a blazing affair, maintaining her marriage, open of course, and raising 3 kids. And then, just to prove she could do more, Emilie decided to do something no French scientist had dared: translate Newton's Principia Mathematica into French. It took her 10 years, and it's still the French edition used today. Now, Emilie was never one to live quietly. She wore men's clothes to sneak into cafes where intellectuals debated. She bet on card games with calculated odds, and often won. She once lost 84,000 francs gambling, and coolly paid it back by writing a math textbook. But at 42, Emilie did something that would shock her peers more than Newton ever did. She got pregnant. The father? Not Voltaire. Nor her husband. But a dashing poet, 10 years her junior. Very nice. Here's the tragic part. Emilie knew this pregnancy might kill her. Childbirth at her age was risky. So she worked frantically, finishing her Newtonian translation while in her 3rd trimester. She gave birth to a daughter. 6 days later, she was dead. But the work she left behind, immortal. Emilie du Chatelet's translation of Principia remains the standard. More than that, she corrected Newton. That's right, she clarified the concept of kinetic energy, arguing it should be proportional to velocity squared, not just velocity. German physicist Leibniz had suggested it. Newton kind of ignored it. Emilie nailed it. Her notes on energy anticipated modern physics. She laid the groundwork for future thinkers, and she did it while drinking champagne, writing poetry, and ignoring every rule meant to keep her quiet. She proved that intellect and sensuality were not enemies, but lovers in their own right. So next time someone says science isn't sexy, raise a glass to Emilie du Chatelet, the lightning rod of the Enlightenment. And if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment with your favorite scandalous scientists. We've got more tales of brain and beauty coming your way here on the Salacious Stories of Scientists. Until next time, stay curious and a little inappropriate.